Hey, I'm James Noble. This video is AC top off. I hope you get some value out of it. Let's get started. Now in this video, we're going to show you how to top off your AC refrigerant. It's simple. Anybody can do it. You just want to use caution with anything you do. First thing we're going to do is make sure our windows is rolled down. We want our ambient temperature to be the same, if possible, under the hood inside the truck. The trick is with this is the reason why we want to do this is going to be our best scenario. Now, if you're out on the road, you can't do that. You know, if you've been putting it off and then it's a really hot day and you finally say, hey, I've got to do something, then you'll just have to do what you have to do. And then just start filling it up and you'll notice a difference in it. And that'll get you through, and then maybe the next morning you can let it set overnight. You just want to make sure the inside the temperature and the outside temperature, ambient temperature, is the same. And if you can, like I say, your truck is cooled all the way down. All right, let's get started. Anybody can top off Freon. You can get a can at Walmart, wherever you want to get it, your favorite retailer, which I wouldn't get it online because it makes it a little harder to return if you don't need it. Now, first off, we got to see if our compressor is running. But this video, we're just doing a top off. We're going to go to our small fill cap. It's located, and it doesn't matter which vehicle you got, it's going to be located on the suction line because you're always going to fill on the suction line. So let's look at this. Now the suction line on this 2000 Chevrolet is right here. This is your low pressure cycling switch, and this is your high line. When you go to fill it, this is going to start sweating. This will sweat and this will sweat, and you know you're actually doing some good. Now with my system, and this is a full shop, or I'm not going to buy Freon, I already have Freon. This is going to work out the same way. The numbers is going to be the same. We'll put you a scale of what your temperature is and how much pressure you should be reading. Set the tank, put it in on the liquid side. It will fill faster. Now as far as the cans you buy at your retailer, it may say different. You need to follow the instructions on it. And what I do is I check to see how much Freon I've still got left in this tank, and it's 21.10 pounds. Now I've got my gauges, got the openings on them closed. All we're going to do is we're going to put a little Freon in this line. Is the only thing we're going to pressurize up. Doing AC is really good money, and it's easy to do. You just follow the instructions, you'll be okay. Now I'm going to take and open the valve up, and I am going to put on some safety glasses. You never know. I'm going to open this valve up. I'm going to flip it upside down, let it settle where it's not bouncing around, and I'm going to zero this out. That way, what we're going to be looking for is how much Freon we actually put in out of the can. This right here is probably full of air, so we don't want to dump no more air in there than we have to. The good thing about these, if you got this closed off, this sealed off, these are self-sealing, so this should still be Freon in there. You won't get much air. Only true way to doing this is to pull a vacuum on it, evac it, then pull a vacuum, and then recharge it. But we're on the road, and we just want to get our air conditioning back up. We don't spend a ton of money because it's not out, and it lasted all through last summer and this winter. Let's get started into that. I'm going to crack this line a little and look for a little bit of gas to come out. You'll see it. Maybe I didn't kill the ozone too much. Now I know this is full of liquid. Now I'm going to come over here to our lines. This is high pressure. When you're filling it from a retailer, you just want to top it off. You'll only be able to get on the low side. That's the only side you're worried about. Now since I've got all the equipment and Freon, it would be a waste of money for me to do that. High side, low side, over to you. Now this gauge set, all you have to do is just put it on there. You're done. The gauges went up, so I'm not totally out. You do want to support this line when you do this because you don't take a chance on pushing it down, bending it, breaking it, then you've caused an issue. Now if you notice, just from what I expelled the air out of, we're at 0.5. Well, it says 3 to 5, so I'm going to say 3 ounces. We're going to zero it out now because we want to know exactly how much Freon we're putting in. This system holds 2 pounds. Now if you notice our gauges, now it looks like it's static pressure. That's nothing running. We're running about 19 psi. Now this low pressure cycling switch, located right here, will not, once it sees a pressure below 16 pounds and once it sees a pressure above, so it'll kick off at 16 pounds, but it won't kick back on till 30 pounds. Now our low pressure cycling switch is just what it says. It's a switch. At 16 pounds, turns the power off. Above 30, turns it back on. So let's start it up and start adding a little Freon to it. Now what I like to do, I know that this thing is cycling on and off. We'll start it up, turn the AC. What you're gonna do is turn your AC on max. So you want your blower on high. You want to recirculate, and then you want to roll your windows up. Now if you notice, it's not tripping. It's not cycling on and off. The compressor is not running at all at this time. And that's because our temperature is too cool really to have the pressure. Now you got a pressure switch, which is located on the side of your accumulator, right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some. Now it's still early in the morning. My ambient temperature is around 76 degrees, so that's gonna play a big part on it. We'll look at our scale and see, but you want to get it close, and you're not trying to make it perfect. The only way to make it perfect is to vacuum it out and put exactly 2 pounds in it. Now we're waiting for a click. The compressor should click. There it is. You hear it? And I also got a leak here. So now we're actually getting some compressor activity. This is going to be the same thing that's going to happen when you use quick fill can. The compressor is going to stay on continuously. So we're going to add some more because we're looking from between 30 and 40 pounds. Now what you see here is not what that sensor sees. Don't think that I've got 70 winds that's not engaging. It goes through our evaporator and it's got orifices inside it, and it may not register on that sensor what you've got going into it. So you get to let it stabilize. Now pressure here is not necessarily going to be the same as the pressure here, because our expansion starts here and it really takes hold once it's inside our evaporator. Still kicking on and off, so it needs some more. You notice it's starting to stay on longer. Now because I am using a big can and putting it in as a liquid, I'm putting it in faster. Now you're using a quick fill can, so it may put it in slower. It may get really cold in your hand. But now it is starting to stay engaged. We're running about, if you look, it's steadied out around 24 pounds. So we know we're still a little low. We want around 30 to 35. The high side's looking pretty good, our pressure. And don't be in a rush to fill it up. Take your time. You're spending $80. You know, you want to take your time on it. Now I want this pressure to stabilize around 30 to 35. See, I'm getting close because my high side's at 150. The temperature is low, it's cooler. And as the inside of that truck cools down, the low side will come down too. So you may start out, if you've got to do it when it's really hot and your truck temperature is pretty warm inside, between all the sunlight and everything, it takes several hours for it to cool down in the shade. If you're pulling in, trying to top off, get you a little more AC. Now if you're reading this, and you're just going to see this part, right? If you're reading this and it's already reading around 40, then you need to let your cabin cool down as much as it can before you add in more and see where it actually stabilizes out. Let's see what our cabin temperature is starting to become. Now the center is usually the coolest, 46 degrees. I don't know if we can actually see that, but it is cooling down very nicely. Now because it's cooling down nicely, as the temperature rises during the day, that pressure will go up. So you really, like a cool morning like this, that's about right, because everything's going to warm up through the day. Both of those pressures is going to go up. If you put too much in it, you can overcharge it at this temperature easy and you won't realize it, and then when it gets really hot, it's not got enough room in there to expand and it won't cool down as well. If you're using gauges like I'm using and you're feeling it, now we're going to shut off our tank over here. We're going to flip it up, turn it off. Let's look and see how much Freon. 1.1 pounds. 1.1 pounds got me to cooling. The system holds 2 pounds, so it still had close to a pound in it. Don't try to put more than that in there, because most likely you're not even going to use all that. But I used 17 ounce, so I did need all that would normally come into a 16 ounce can. We'll flip our tank back over. Now, I've got a little room to wiggle with because I'm showing 31. I can run around 35, but I'm going to shut this off, and then we're going to open our low side and let all the liquid drain out of the fill line. Now when it evens out, then I can take my hose loose, take this hose loose. You notice it didn't change it a whole lot. And also the temperature inside the cab is getting cooler. But once you get outside, let the cabin build up some heat. Then you turn it on. This number is probably going to run closer to 40, and that's going to run closer to 200. So let's disconnect our line. We're going to shut this off. Now, if you're doing it with gauges, we're going to take our low pressure off, and you'll notice this will be warm. It may be hot to touch. It's not on mine. And this is going to be cold and sweating. You'll notice it's sweating all the way back. We want to put our cap on there. We don't get any trash inside there. We'll get this gauge right quick and see what our temperature's got down to in there now. See, we're running 37 degrees, 36. Now, you can't beat that. Now you're gonna see exactly the same thing on yours on a quick fill. We're looking. You'll notice on your quick fill can, it's going to show between 30 and 50. That's what we're looking for. We're at 31 at 76 degrees. We want to shut the truck off, let our pressures equalize, and then we'll disconnect our high side. Notice how quickly it's starting to condensate on the inside of the truck. We had a heavy rain last night, so our humidity is pretty high, even though the temperature is low. Now you'll notice you could hear at the orifice tube how much noise it was making. Once it's quit hissing, we're showing about 50 pounds on our high side now. Now we can disconnect the high side. Now you want to use a rag because it's going to spit out just a little. Now let's put our high side cap on. Now that concludes this video. If you got any value out of it, hit me with some like and subscribe. And if you got any ideas of what you'd like to see in an AC video, drop me a comment. I appreciate you watching.